Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Scott Selections here with winnersandwhiners.com this time. Before we get into the play of the day, we will be recapping what happened yesterday. I know all of you just met me, but if you decided not to fade me in my debut, you ended up picking up a winner with the New York Yankees at minus 111 as the line that we grabbed, and they ended up coasting. Scored 11 runs. They were up 8-0 more than halfway through the game. Game was a wrap early. Giants just aren't a good team. Yankees, even though they're dealing with a ton of injuries, they keep hitting. Sanchez with another homer. Voigt's been fantastic with the Yankees. And overall, they're just a hot team that I'm going to look to keep riding moving forward. But that will bring us to the play of the day, which we'll stick with baseball, and we will be sticking with the AL East. And we will be going with the Tampa Bay Rays money line, which is available at minus 119 at Heritage at the time of recording at roughly 3:20 a.m. Eastern time as they take on the Kansas City Royals. Now, Ryan Stanek's going to be pitching for Tampa Bay. He's 0-0 with a 1.32 ERA, but honestly, his stats besides ERA aren't that relevant because he's a relief pitcher, which means that the Rays, who kind of patented the opener idea last year, are going to be doing that again. And Stanek has been great so far this season in his role as a 1 or 2 inning opener with an ERA below 1.5. Where Kansas City will be using Brad Keller, who has a 2-2 record, I should say, with a 3.41 ERA with Kansas City. However, interesting caveat here, Keller actually just pitched against the Rays in his last start, and he ended up giving up 5 runs while pitching 6 1/3 innings. So the Rays have had success against Keller earlier this season, and I would not be surprised to see the Rays continue to roll as they have done throughout the entire season so far. The Rays have won 4 of their last 5 games, and they are currently 18-9 overall. They're also 9-2 on the road, so it's not just a home-road dichotomy. They're good wherever they go. Not to mention the fact that they actually swept the Red Sox this past weekend. It was a 3-game series in which one of the games got rained out, so it turned into a 2-game series. But either or, Tampa Bay has looked great, and they were able to win both games against the Red Sox. Some trends to mention for both teams. Kansas City has given up at least 4 runs to the opposition in 8 of their last 9 games, whereas Tampa Bay has done the exact opposite, and they have held their opponents to less than 4 runs in 4 of their last 5 games. So if you need any more statistics to hammer home this little pitching advantage that we've been mentioning with Tampa Bay actually has the lowest ERA in baseball with a sub-3 ERA for the entire team at 2.99. They are also a top 10 bullpen in ERA in the entire league, where Kansas City as a team is 25th in ERA with a 5.23 team ERA, and they are also in the bottom 10 in bullpen ERA. So the bullpen ERA is extremely important in this game because Tampa Bay is not going to be using an actual starter. They're going to be using a ton of relief pitchers, and Stanek will probably go 2 innings max. But it doesn't concern me because Tampa Bay has had a great bullpen, and Glasnow did have a great start yesterday against the Red Sox, which allowed the Rays to rest some of their quality arms for this game. Now, at first glance, the actual line itself at minus 119 looks a little bit low, and I think you're right, it does look low, but I also thought the Yankees line looked low yesterday, and that ended up not mattering as the Yankees coasted to a win against the Giants. The main reason for me on why this line is so low has to do with traveling. The Rays have to travel from Boston to Kansas City, where Kansas City just played a weekend series at home against Los Angeles. So they're not going to need to travel at all, where Tampa Bay is going to have to get on a flight and travel to Kansas City. Realistically, that's the only reason why I could think this line is so low. Even with the flight and everything, I'm not going against the Rays at this point in time based on how well they've played so far this season, and they definitely have looked like a playoff team in the AL East, whether it's going to be a wild card or a division title. But for me in this, I think that Tampa Bay should be a minus 130 favorite or even higher in this game. Kansas City is awful. They are 9-19. They also have a losing record at home. The team's not any good. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels at home, and I see a very hot Tampa team coming in and taking care of business. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Royals lineup, and I'm sure if you think right now to name more than 2 players on the Kansas City lineup, you probably can't do it. Most of you would name Alex Gordon and maybe Whit Merrifield. Other than that, you can't really name anybody on their team. And it's kind of amazing how quickly their fall from grace has come after those consecutive World Series appearances and the World Series championship. But times have changed. The problems of being a small market team. and I think Tampa Bay will win this game. I think Kansas City will score less than 3 runs in this game. I think they'll score 3 or less. I think Tampa Bay's bullpen will do the job. I think they'll score at least 5 in this game. I think Keller will look good initially at home, but it would not surprise me to see Tampa Bay eventually get to him. And even if they can hold Keller to roughly 6 innings of quality work, Kansas City's bullpen is still one of the worst in the league, and I think Tampa Bay will get to that bullpen in the later innings. So your play of the day will be on the Tampa Bay Rays money line, which is available at -119 at Heritage. But we will do what we did yesterday, and we will continue by going over our leans for the basketball and the hockey games. In basketball yesterday, we actually did extremely well with our leans. We were wrong about, we were wrong about the Celtics. We thought Milwaukee would be able to cover the spread. However, we were right about the under in that game, and we were right about Houston plus the points as well as the under. So we went 3-1 in the NBA leans. And for the NHL leans, we did get both sides wrong, as we thought that San Jose and the Islanders would win. However, we were right with the Carolina and Islanders under, and we were right about the first period under. So it wasn't a great day in hockey, but it wasn't terrible. In basketball, we went 3-1 overall. But we will transition into the games coming up today, and we will start with basketball. So there are 2 games on the slate. You have game 2 at roughly 8 o'clock Eastern time between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Toronto Raptors. Same spread as game 1. Toronto's laying 6.5. However, the total is very interesting to me. It was at 219.5. It's now up to 220.5. That doesn't make any sense to me, considering the fact that game 1 only totaled about 203 points. So the fact that it's gone from 203 total in game 1 all the way through to 220, or 220.5, I should say, in game 2, makes me lean to the over. It makes me believe that Philadelphia is going to play a lot more up-tempo, trying to keep Toronto off guard. And I don't really understand the move to the over, but since it's been bet up from 219.5, which I already thought was pretty high, I'll have to lean to the over. I feel like some sharps probably know something on that, so I will lean to the over in that game, and I will lean to the Raptors. I know Philadelphia came in with a little chip on their shoulder after destroying the Nets in 4 straight games after losing game 1, and Embiid has looked unstoppable, and Simmons looked really good against the Nets. Toronto absolutely destroyed Philly in game 1, and Marc Gasol has been Joel Embiid's kryptonite, and he has done a tremendous job defensively of trying to block off Embiid from the paint, trying to limit him to jump shots. And I think that Gasol will be the unsung hero when Toronto wins this series, in my opinion, in 6 games. But it's also important to note that Philadelphia just cannot guard Kawhi Leonard. I know Siakam was also great in game 1, but Kawhi Leonard dropped 40-plus points, and I don't see any answers for Philly. Philly tried multiple defenders. Nothing worked. They'll probably double-team him a decent portion of the game because they can't afford him to go off. But he's still a menace on defense. He can still get whatever shot he wants from mid-range. So I will lean to Toronto because I think they're the deeper team. I think they're the better coach team, and I think they have the best player on the court in Kawhi Leonard. And I will take Toronto -6.5, and I will lean to the over just based on the questionable line movement towards the over in that game. Moving on, you finally have game 1 of the Portland and Denver series after Denver was taken to game 7 against the Spurs, and Popovich decided not to foul. We're down 4 with 20-something seconds left. I still don't understand it, but either or, whatever. That's the past. Now, with Portland and Denver opened up at a 3.5-point favorite. They're now up to 4 market-wide, and the total has been bet down from 216.5 to 215.5 based on what they saw from Denver's defense in Game 7. So I guess they expect Denver to play quality defense in this game as well. Portland also played good defense against Oklahoma City, but in terms of this game, I will lean to the over. I know it's been bet down from 216.5 to 215.5, but both these teams love to run. And Oklahoma City was known throughout the entire season for their quality defense on the wings. It didn't matter for Game 5 as Lillard hit that 37-footer for the win and dropped 50. But overall, Oklahoma City also wasn't a great shooting team, which led to some unders in that series. Denver and Portland both love to push the pace, and most of their games this season have totaled somewhere in the 210s to 220s. So I think this total is a little bit low. I think Denver will look to get it running. I don't think anyone can guard Jokic, and I don't think anyone can guard Lillard or McCollum on the other side. So I will lean to the over 215.5, which is available at 5 times currently at -105. And I will also lean to Denver -4. Portland's going to be a very hot underdog pick after what happened with the Thunder and the fact they're coming in on rest. But Denver is a tremendous home team, and Portland will not – I don't think they'll adjust well to the altitude in Game 1. They also might come out flat because they've had a couple extra days off, where Denver has had a normal amount of rest because they ended up having to play 7 games. They've also dealt with a decent amount of adversity, having to deal with the San Antonio Spurs in the Game 7. I think 4 is too low. Denver was 3-1 in the season series, with the one loss coming when Denver decided to bench all their players, including Jokic. So Portland was able to win the last meeting between these teams. But I think Denver, when they actually play all their starters, will be able to win this game by at least 7 points. I'll lean to Denver and the over in that game. Now, moving on to hockey, there's only one game in hockey for tomorrow, and it's between the St. Louis Blues and the Dallas Stars. And that series has been dead even, as it is currently 1-1, with Dallas winning Game 2 by a score of 4-2 in St. Louis. Dallas is currently the favorite. It opened up at -119. Money has come in on St. Louis, but not by that much. It's pretty much -112 all the way through to -120 on Dallas, depending on where you shop around. And the total has stayed steadily at 5, with money towards the under. In terms of this game, I will have to lean to the under again. I know that the last game ended at 4-2, but that also had to do with an empty netter from roughly 70 feet out, or I should say from three-quarter ice, with about 2 seconds left. That game was headed for a push at 3-2 before Dallas hit that empty netter. I'd have to lean to the under. Bennington still look good. Bishops look good. I think that both goalies are dialed in. I think both teams schematically plan to play very defensive-oriented games, kind of like what the Islanders and Carolina have done. The Islanders will have to park the bus and pretty much play defense forward, and both those games finished under by a wide margin. So I think that this game will go under the 5. Worst case is I think you're looking at a 3-2 push. If you want a little extra value on this game, look to the overtime bet of will this game go to overtime. I think that any game in which you have two teams that play very similar styles in which they don't score a lot of goals is prime for value with overtime. Thanks, Kerry. I appreciate it. I'm just looking to provide some more winners here on this show. But in terms of the game itself, I will lean to Dallas. I think that Dallas will come out focused after stealing a game in St. Louis. And I think that Dallas, with the home crowd behind them, with Ben and Sagan finally picking it up, I think that the Stars will be able to take a 2-1 series lead. But I would lean to the under and the first period under as my main play in that game. But in case you are just joining us, the play of the day for Monday, April 29th, will be on the Tampa Bay Rays money line against the Kansas City Royals, which is available at -119 at Heritage. And that first pitch should be around 8 o'clock. But regardless of whether we end up winning that or not, this will be the last time, for now at least, that I will be filling in for Scott Steen, who will be returning on Tuesday. So if you miss Scott Sr., as I like to call him, then he will be back tomorrow. And I hope that I was able to fill the void, so to speak. However, I'm still going to be doing my daily videos on statsalt.com as well as and the YouTube channel. So if you want to continue watching me in particular, and if you have faith in me providing you some picks, that's going to be the YouTube channel that I just posted. And if I end up losing, or if you want to roast me for any of my picks or my appearance or anything like that, I don't really care. Here's my Twitter handle, which I just posted in the chat. So feel free to ask me any questions, or if you want some of my insight on some of the games, or if you just want to interact with me personally. But that's going to do it for this installment of Scott's Selections here with winnersandwhiners.com. On Monday, April 29th, I will actually be posting another Scott's Selections on the StatSalt page with the link I just posted in the chat box. I will be uploading that in roughly 20 minutes. So if you want another pick for a potential 2-0 run, if you followed the play yesterday, we also won in the StatSalt account as we took the over 8.5 in the Seattle Mariners and Texas Rangers game, and the Rangers scored 14 runs. So that was an easy winner by roughly the 5th inning. But either or, if you want another pick, you can go there. If you don't, then either or. I hope you enjoyed this broadcast on Winners and Whiners. And that's going to do it for this installment of Scott Selections here with Winners and Whiners on April 29th. Good luck to all of you and your respective bets. And hopefully I will get to see all of you again soon. Have a good day, everybody.